Miigwech o Chimiigwech. Kwe kakina. Bonjour tout le monde. Greetings to everyone. Today, September the 30th, it's an important day, absolutely it is. And it's a very important day for residential school survivors. I am not a residential school survivor. I am an Indian day school survivor. It was the same objectives, which was to assimilate us, take away our language, and not allow us to be who we are. But in any case, why is today so important? Well, it's important because we are honoring the survivors. We are honoring and we're remembering and we're commemorating and we're giving our love to the residential school survivors. We're also remembering the children who did not make it home. And of course, we are remembering those children that came home today.
Where you from?
Up north,
Where?
west of Prince George,
Prince George, wow.
about 2-hour drive west.
Okay.
So today is the day to commemorate the residential schools and remember the children. Can I ask how today is impacting you?
I was in residential school for 8 years, and this to see some people get recognition, I couldn't take it, because so used to being down there. But after all this healing I've been through, I'm now helping people that went to residential school.
Can I ask what type of healing did you have to go through?
I do letting go ceremony, healing fire, water ceremony, to get rid of all that negative energy from the past.
So in order to heal yourself, you had to go back to your own way, our own ways, and
Culturally. So I go to treatment center, sure they open up everything, but when I got to do hands-on thing, and when I see that my uncle doing that water ceremony and hitting a tree, and when I went to university, they put a name to it. It's psychodrama. It's something to play with the mind and acting it out. So that works pretty good.
what would you like Canadians to know about your experience in residential school?
Residential school, my experience was, the worst one for me was when I was talking to my cousin. I asked her, when is Grandpa and her dad, my dad, going to come and visit? And she told me, get back on the ice because Father see you, you get shot. Sure enough, Father sent me, blew the whistle, we all went up and take off our shoes and called me over and said, take off your clothes. Slowly I took off my shirt and I didn't want to take my pants off, so I had to took my shorts off. Then I got a strap. When I came to, I was on the floor looking at the bigger boys for help. I see one of them kind of giggling in my mind, when I grow up, I'm going to make you feel the pain. So when I came out of residential school on the street of Vancouver, any place, even prison, that's what I do is fight it. Somebody's happy over there, I go over there, start fighting. But I had to release all that negative energy. I now help different people with different things.
It's very heavy, very emotional, absolutely, because I could feel this energy of sorrow. I could also feel this energy of the resilience of survival, because our people are still here. And that is something so special. But there's also, it's very, bittersweet emotions. On one hand, here's a day that we are commemorating, we're remembering, we're honoring, and we're going to, the survivors, but we're also going to educate Canadians and the world at large.
Have you been able to find forgiveness?
Forgiveness is one of the hardest things to deal with. 1975, counts and elders showed me how to do that. I asked them if is this going to help my residential school issue I'm packing. Yeah, it's going to help your Slagan. You help your Slagan, you're going to help your family. After you help your family, you're going to help many people. I'm not going to help many. And here I am. That's what I'm doing now.
Canadians need to know their history. They need to know that without First Nations people, they wouldn't even have land to call home. They wouldn't be Canadians. It was the treaties that our people entered into with the settlers. And those treaties speak about peace. Those treaties speak about sharing. And we have been sharing. We have been sharing since 1492. And we're waiting for our share. And it's time now that Canadians start to share their respect, their kindness, their understanding with our people. It's so important. It's bittersweet because, as I said, it is about the residential school survivors. But what's going to happen tomorrow, October 1st, October 2nd, and moving forward? Everything is forgotten. No, every day needs to be a day to remember First Nations people. Every day needs to be remember Indigenous peoples of this land.
We're from the West, and so I've actually been to a residential school in Saskatchewan and know of that, but we never really knew that there were so many deaths and burials that were unmarked and their parents not notified. So we think that was unjust to uproot the children from native homes. And we think generally that residential schools are very hard on young native kids. So that's why we're here, to recognize that injustice and try to move forward with their pain, I suppose. It's not our pain, but we share it.
Why do I feel that sorrow on this side of what's going to change? Is anything going to change? Well, we still have the Indian Act. We still have murder and missing Indigenous women. We still have the child welfare system where they're taking our children away from their parents in numbers. We don't have our land. For example, we're sitting here right now on Parliament Hill, but this is unceded, unsurrendered Algonquin land. We never gave this land away. We never traded it away. We never sold it. It was taken from us. So land back is what's so important. How can Canada say they own this land of my people when it is unsurrendered, unceded? It still belongs to us. And even those lands that fall under treaty, those treaty nations never surrendered their land. They entered into the treaties to share.
Do you have kids?
I don't, but my wife does. So,
Have you? How do you explain this scenario or this situation to those who are younger in your lives? Those looking for you to explain how this happened in this country.
well, that's a tough one. I think that the youth need to know the truth. I think that history books should reflect the truth of what happened in residential schools in this country. I think that the young kids need to understand the pain and come to support future reconciliation, whatever form that may take.
Well, it's about time now Canadians understand this, and it's about time they share. And if they can't show respect to all other peoples of the world and are being so concerned about what's going on overseas, then they need to start being concerned what's happening right here in this country of Canada to First Nations people.
I'm honored that our languages are being welcomed into the circle as well. You'll hear a lot of different Indigenous languages spoken on the stage today. When I speak Cree, it's healing. I even get to bring my language to Hockey Night in Canada. We'd like to acknowledge all the residential school survivors in the audience.
Honorons leur mémoire. Ne les oublions pas. C'est à eux que je dédie cette journée. Ces enfants qu'on ne connaît pas, mais qui sont si présents dans nos mémoires du cœur. L'espoir d'une vie meilleure m'a toujours inspiré. Dès aujourd'hui, vers une harmonie mutuelle, entretenons ensemble ce feu sacré de la vie. Écoutez, Miigwech, merci.
What grade would you give, if you had to give a grade to this current government on the issue of reconciliation, what would you give them?
Give a grade to who? The government?
The federal government. Those who you're dealing with, so you're obviously dealing with the people who represent Canada and Canadians, and that would be represented in the government, whether it be federal, provincial. What are they, how are they, obviously they'll go and say, hey, we created today.
Well, first of all, everybody has a responsibility to this thing called reconciliation, right? But to grade, okay, the Canadian, the public in general are doing much better than the government, that's for sure. With respect to understanding or trying to make amends or wanting to walk this road on reconciliation. Canadians, I see that Canadians are more awakening because of 2021 with the discovery of those unmarked graves. So Canadians are becoming much more aware. The government, well, I think the government needs to move away from their politics, and they got to stop putting brownie points, and they got to deal with the real issues here. So I would say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 3, because what are the municipalities doing? What are the provincial government doing? The federal government. We know the federal government has made this a statutory holiday, but it's not meant to be everybody take a day off and go fishing or go roller skating or go picnicking. This is supposed to be everybody coming together. But the provinces don't even recognize this September 30th day. Why not? Why? So to those provinces and municipalities that don't even honor or acknowledge, it's a 0, period.
I say miigwech to Elder Commanda for her prayer and to the Algonquin Nation for welcoming us into their territory. And I welcome all leadership and honored guests that are with us today. We cannot do this work without you. And to the survivors of residential schools, we are here today because of you, because of the hard truths that you have shared, because of your courage. I say Chi Miigwech today because it is a powerful day. I have heard survivors say every day should be a day for truth and a day for action. Every day we should honor the survivors and all those little ones who died or went missing and did not return to the arms of their loved ones.
What is it about, what did people get wrong about their assessment of Indigenous strength across the world, where they thought they would be able to come in and try and exercise their military power, and they just thought they would be able to win us over? What was it about Indigenous people that allowed us to survive that onslaught? What do you attribute to that?
We come from the land. The land is our strength. Mushkiki. That word is mushkiki is medicine, and that means the strength of the land. Mush kawizin aki. The land, our connection to the land, because we come from here, we were created here. We don't come from any other country around the world, unlike all the settlers who've come here. We come from the land, our ancestors, our connection to our ancestors, our creation stories, and in our creation stories contains all the knowledge that we need to survive in this physical world. Our prayers, our ceremonies. Yes, they were taken from us, but not all was destroyed. So what kept us, what gave us our survival? It's our connection to the land, because the promise that the Creator made us, the promise that the Creator gave us when He created us, He lowered us to live upon Mother Earth, and that He gave us that special creation as a Anishinaabe people, no matter what nation we come from, because we come from Creator, and He promised us that we would always be here. So it's our belief in our creation stories, it's our belief in our Creator, our connection to our ancestors, and connection to the land. That is our strength.
This question in my mind is, if you could see into the future, like we're not going to be here 100 years from now, and I guess I would say, what would be my greatest fear that would come out of this? And part of my opinion would be, okay, we kind of go backwards. What would be your biggest fear on this, if you were to look into the future and you're kind of looking back?
That nothing has changed. That nothing has changed for our people. That our people will have the same struggles, fighting for the right to the land, fighting to protect the waters, fighting government. All the breaches of government has done their fiduciary obligations to First Nations people. The continuous breach of treaty rights, the continuous breach of Aboriginal rights, the continuous neglect or denial of inherent rights of First Nations people, and our children go missing, and murdered and missing Indigenous women, murdered and missing Indigenous men, and that our children constantly will have to face the racism and never have a place that's rightfully theirs in their land. That's my fear.
My name is Laura Arndt. I am the Secretariat lead at the Survivor Secretariat at Six Nations. Today we're here for multiple reasons. This morning we released a national report at the National Press Gallery talking about the impact of cuts into unmarked burials and missing children. In July of this year, Canada quietly announced that it's reducing its funding from $216.5 million to $91 million. So while people join us today to talk and reflect about reconciliation, we as survivor organizations have been handing out cards asking people to stand with survivors. We need you to stand with us to ensure that the truth is told, that the 23 million documents that still have not been released by Canada are released, and they're released to the hands of communities so that we can remember the children who died to our communities. We need to be able to say their names. We need to be able to bring those memories back into our communities so that those children can become part of our history, our stories, and our remembrance. So as people reflect today, our work is not done. Survivors who sit with you today range in age from 60, 70, and 80 plus, and they want the truth told in their lifetime. And that time is getting rushed because they are now in the final stages of their lives, and they're still fighting for the truth to be told about what happened at Indian residential schools across Canada.
You know, it's sad. It's sad what they've done, what they're doing. And you know, one of the things that they do most of all is they try to make us hate one another. You know, they wanted me when I was a little girl. I was brought up to believe I should be scared of natives. And now they want natives to believe what they did to them is my fault. I didn't do that. I didn't take nobody's kids. Don't blame this shit on me. I wouldn't do that to anybody. And you know, though, the thing to realize is those bastards that did that to native kids, they do that to any kids. They don't care if you're native or white or whatever. You know, I'm white and I know what was done to me. You know, they didn't care.
Wow. Yeah, this is why I go out in the mountains and make mess like many people. Prostate cancer.
So I'm going to the Eye
problem.
Institute tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And I'm still doing it.
Yeah. You know, I'm my own doctor too. I take
Oh.
apple cider vinegar, I take garlic, pine tea, yeah, you know, like.
I met a doctor from Alberta, Edmonton. When we were in Vancouver, doctors gathered and asked me a lot of questions. I went fasting 3 seasons. One more to go. And he asked me how I make this mess pure. I said, I go in the mountains. That's my pharmacy.
Yeah.
That's where I get all the stuff to make medicine to cure my prostate cancer. And I help many other people doing that.
You look very healthy. You look with your
79.
You look amazing. Yeah. I wish you all the best.
Continue.
They kill my kids too, right? These here are my boys. They're both dead because of Justin Trudeau's lockdowns. And you know, him there, he spent more time locked up in prisons and jails than murderers and rapists, and he never did anything like that. Yeah. You know, and I think that my son, the amount of confinement that he was locked up 23 hours a day with no connection, that's torture. That's what this government does. That's why I don't know how is there going to find reconciliation with a government
First time
like
I
this.
went to Ocala prison farm during 18 months, 6 concurrent. First time they opened the door for me. Well, and after I walk in, they close the door. Oh, I was confused. They didn't do that in the residential school. Right? These guys respect me. Close the door behind me. When I go out, they open the door for me. I go out. This is where I learned how I went to a boot camp 6 weeks. I had uniform, teach me respect. So I had to get my uniform and show it off to me.
That's what it is. You know, we're friends. They want us to think we're not. There's us and there's them. They want it all and they want us to have nothing.
That's right.
But
I keep moving forward. I don't stop there.
exactly.
I just keep moving forward. See somebody on the street, never eat. I bring them to McDonald's, get them food. Some in a tent. I open a tent.
Be careful of that white man's
I
food.
give them.
Be careful of that white man's food. You know, they're using our food to poison us.
I use dry meat, dry fish.
Yeah. Anyway, it was so nice talking to you. Safe travels back home.
Enjoy yourself.
Part of the Wellington St regulars, DDR almost went up.
Yes.
975.
This is the convoy ride where like a remnants of